Hello, beautiful people. It's another interesting episode on Cool Reaction. Today, we are going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic. I am your host, Bona Efwa.
And I am Inubanti.
And with us here, we have a delectable, beautiful, scintillating script writer. Can we meet you, ma?
Hi, my name is Olivia Amarachi Onhago, and I'm a scriptwriter and also a director too as well.
Oh,
Wow.
script writer and directing. Oh.
I just like the way you talk.
Thank you.
Okay, so if I would ask, when did you begin your journey as a scriptwriter? Did you just wake up one morning like, I want to be a scriptwriter? How did it begin?
Actually, I've always had a flair of writing, or I've always had a flair to write.
Okay.
I remember when I was way much younger, I think as early as when I was in GSS1, GSS2,
Wow.
I used to write stories, and I used to give my friends, they would read, and then when I finished, I studied theater and film in school anyways.
Okay.
So I think studying theater and film also helped me understand the techniques behind writing. I realized that when you want to write, you just don't just pick up your pen and paper, do you understand? And then you just start scribbling, or there's a form or a format in which you write screenplays or scripts. So after school, then I think that was during COVID or thereabouts, and I had nothing to do. I was basically indoors or something, and I met one producer that was starting out and he was looking for actors, and because I was less busy, I told him, I was like, okay, he came to a friend of mine shop,
Okay.
and then he was telling my friend that he needs actors, actresses, and because I was less busy as at that time, I was like, oh yeah, I could actually, join, because I wanted to keep myself busy, because as at that time, I also had a flair for acting.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I went to I went there, and first of all, they didn't have a script. What they had was just an idea, but they didn't
Wow.
have a script. So when I came there, I was expecting to see a script, and there was no script. So I was asking them, I was like, where's the script? And they said they don't have a script. Everybody should go home and go and write a script.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was what it was, basically. So I went home. Now, because of my knowledge as a theater and film student, I think I was able to come up with a better script. Do you understand? I was able to come up with what I think or what I thought, what I remember that they taught me was a script. Do you understand? So I wrote something down. I think I wrote it in an exercise book then, because I didn't even have a phone at that time. Or my phone got stolen, actually, anyways.
All right. Oh,
So
Lord.
I wrote it down an exercise book, and then the next day I took it there, and they were so wow. They were so funny enough. Nobody even brought none of the other cast members, brought anything. And some the people that even tried, what they had was just, I'll call it a synopsis, or maybe an idea, maybe 2-3 lines, but I had a full script written. So they were so impressed, and they're like, oh, why don't you just take it up then? And then I realized, okay, I can actually do this thing. I can actually take this as a career. Do you understand? I could
Wow.
actually I can actually do this, yeah. So after that, I did more research on my own. So that was how my journey initially started.
But what you're saying now, storytelling, it's quite different from script writing. Let's say you have a story in your head. It's quite different from writing it, yeah?
Yeah, it's actually very different. Like the way you write scripts is quite different from, let's say, fiction and prose. It's just what they call that thing, prose, poetry,
Yeah,
drama. So it's quite very, very different. The style is, way, way different. Basically, people don't understand that there's a format for writing scripts. Anyways,
Okay.
people don't have any idea that there's a format for writing scripts. People just think that, you just probably grab your phone. The style they probably, which is actually similar to screenplay, basically.
Alright.
The format they basically use is drama. Yes, plays they probably read in school. They write maybe bola, then they put
Yeah.
semicolon and colon.
Then they
But they don't
say-
realize that there's a format for writing scripts, basically, anyway. So
Oh, wow. Okay, so how do you get your ideas? Let's take, for instance, so I want a story about prostitution. How do you build up all those? How?
first of all, for me, the key thing is research. I always
Okay.
research.
Okay.
It was drummed into me when I was, studying. And beside that, when you go to Google and you say, oh, how do I become a scriptwriter? How do I become, when it comes to stories, when it comes to writing, basically anything, be it fiction stories or non-fiction, whatever it is, you basically have to do your research.
Sure.
So for me, I always do research. I go online. I try to get as much information that I can. And if I have my way, like if there's time, and if I have my way, if I want to go an extra mile, I probably like try to reach out to people that I know that have experienced
Okay.
such and certain experiences. Basically, that's what I basically do. And then I read books too as well. And then sometimes I watch documentaries. Documentaries actually do, because documentaries give you like a feel of reality. Do you understand? Documentaries are not like movies. Do you know movies sometimes are tainted?
Yeah.
Do you understand, with fiction?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to like build a character that will appeal to the audience. But when you watch documentary about certain topics, for example, if I was about to write about prostitution or write a script about prostitution, and then I watch a documentary about prostitution, and if I want to go for that, I can like watch documentary about prostitution that cut across different corners, and different people and whatever. I have a much more in-depth knowledge of what's going on. I have a touch of real life when it comes to documentary compared to movies. So I rely more on documentaries than on actual movies.
Okay, but when you're coming up with all of this idea to write a script, is there a particular kind of environment, or what are the difficulties that's around those environments? Is there a particular environment you have to be in, a particular mood you have to be in to bring these things off your head, or you just have to work with what a producer or someone comes up with?
Actually, it depends on what. Most people that I work with, sometimes they have an idea.
Okay.
They can basically say, okay, I want an epic. They call it epic, anyways. They say, I want an epic movie where there's a king and then there's a village. Sometimes that's what all they have, and then they let you do the rest. Do you understand?
They don't even explain.
Some people don't even know what they want to do. Basically, they just know
Wow.
they want a king, they want a queen, and maybe 2 princesses. So it's left for you to now do. Okay, this king, what was he looking for? What village does he rule? Do you understand? What, you start to piece the whole story together. Like, what's the arc? What's the resolution? What's the conflict? What's this king looking for? Do you understand? Who is the queen to him? How did he come about the queen? So most times, basically, it depends on who I'm, working with at that time. Do you understand? So, and sometimes I meet other people and they already know what they want. They already have an idea of what they basically want. They have an idea of, some people have already even broken down the scene in their heads. So when they meet you, they already tell you, okay, this is how I want it to be like. This is what I want A to say to B, and this is what I want C to say to D. So basically, for me, I feel like the more detailed your story is, the more detailed you as a producer, maybe a client, you want your story, is the more easier it is for me. Do you understand? So yes.
So to become a scriptwriter, what are the most successful skills, or what are the skills actually you have to possess to become a successful scriptwriter?
Well, for me, I feel like, first of all, you have to be able to I think if you can fight procrastination, first of all, because I'm dead serious here. See, let me tell you something. When I go, initially at the start of my career, I feel like the more, I don't know about anybody, but I'm speaking for myself here. I remember when I first started, I could do 30 pages in a day.
The fire was
Do you understand? But the more, I feel like I'm getting burned out. Do you understand? I feel like the more I keep doing this thing, the more burned out I get, the more tired I feel. Do you understand? So I feel like for you to want to be a successful scriptwriter, you have to first of all do away with procrastination. You don't have to say, okay, I'll write later or I'll write tomorrow. Write now. Do you understand? Like, you don't have to wait. And again, we always wait for, oh, I want the perfect word. I want it to be perfect. I want this sentence to be perfect. I want the actions to be perfect. I want the sequence to be perfect. I want the dialogues to be perfect. There's no perfect time, There's nothing like too much words. You could always edit them.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to fight procrastination, and then you have to, I feel like if you can overcome the temptation of always going to the internet. I always say when it comes to writing, it's a war between, it's like 90% surfing the web and then 10% writing. Because, okay, let me just research this one, and then before you know it, you're already on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're on. So basically, if you can actually do away with these things, self-discipline, let me just put it that way.
Okay.
Best believe me, the world is your oyster. So yes, that's what I think are one of the successful tips to becoming, a writer. And then you have to be very, very imaginative. You have to always think
Imaginative.
out. Yes,
Wow.
exactly. You have to always think think outside the box every time. And then I always tell people like you also have to be very, very realistic. Look, no matter how much you're trying to like,
Okay.
you know, no matter how much you're trying to do fiction, you also have to also put a touch of realism
Reality, okay.
in it, because
Okay.
in humans are always this I don't know how to put that saying or statement, but humans always like to look for themselves in anything. That's why you see that when we
make
watch
it
cartoons,
relatable.
Exactly. If you watch cartoons, they would, or normally you might never feel sorry for a cockroach or a rat.
Yeah.
But I mean, what you've seen Ratatouille, you've seen Ratatouille, right?
That's true.
But you felt sorry because they had to humanize an animal.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
Okay,
humans want
that's
to always see themselves in everything and anything. So that's why basically you have to like, put element of realism in what you're
Do it.
trying to do as well. So
Alright,
yeah, that's
okay.
it.
All right. What would you say is your greatest strength as a scriptwriter?
Well, for me, I will basically say it's the money, yeah. Let me not even lie to you. I feel like when I initially first started, it was more about, telling a good story,
Okay.
creating very good characters, you know. But with time, for me, basically, like, it's your money. I mean, the faster you are to, like, deposit your money, the eager I am to, like,
Okay.
do your job for you.
Money the ginger you.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a very honest person, yeah.
Understand you.
I'm not going to act like, oh my
Okay.
God, it's the story, it's the character. Nah.
So how do you keep your creative
Juices
ideas,
flowing?
creative juices? How do you keep it, especially when you're working on multiple projects?
Well, for me, like I told you guys earlier, I said initially it's the money. When I'm working on various projects, what I basically do is that I don't want to talk about it. I'm so sorry.
You have to. You have to talk about it. You have to.
So for me, I always give more preference. What I basically do is whenever I'm writing, when I have like multiple projects at the same time, for me it's how faster this person wants to shoot or the deadline for this person. So I always prioritize it. Like for me, I'm going to be very, 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 very honest. Like that's what's actually because the longer it is, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for everyone in general. But for me, the longer it is, for how am I going to explain? Like if you tell me, okay, I want my job in a month, I feel more relaxed. Do you understand? So
Okay.
the shorter it is, the shorter the deadline it is, the more. I don't know how my brain does it,
So
but
you work actively
exactly
under pressure. When
Let me
pressure-
just say that way, even though it's not a nice thing to say.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
You
hoping.
work well under pressure.
Pressure.
Let me just tell you, I actually do because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to disappoint this person. I don't want to be the reason why they are not shooting. So I don't want to hear, oh yeah, they want delay, blah blah blah. So I try as much as. So I feel like that's what keep those creative juices flowing. And before you know it, I've written like tens of pages. For me, that's how it works. I'm going to be very, very honest here. So I'll say maybe pressure. Let's just say pressure instead. So yeah, that's it.
So how do you come about your stories? How do you get ideas?
Okay, like I told you initially, most times people always tell me like my clients basically always have their ideas. But how I tend to like expatiate on what they give me, basically sometimes I basically do research, like I said. But for my own personal stories, for my own personal scripts, basically it's based on personal experiences, maybe something I read in a book, maybe something I stumbled. Basically, let me say based on personal experiences. Basically, so yes, that's how I get my stories.
Okay. Also, how do you, explain to us the process that becomes of a scriptwriter or becomes of a script that brings out a script, the procedures. Is it like I have to wake up in the morning, I have to research first, I have to think deep first, narrow through my mind what I have experienced? What are those processes?
For me-
Is there a particular line you should follow? Do this after this, do this before this to get here?
Actually, there's no rules to these things, anyways.
Okay.
But first of all, you have to have a story in your head. First of all, you have to have an idea. You have to have, maybe you want to write about the story of maybe one woman, a tragic story about a woman that probably lost all her 7 kids. So you have to have a story about that. First of all, you have to pen it down. If you want to pen it down, some people, but basically, you advise like pen down your ideas, and then later you can always go back and elaborate on it.
All right,
So
all right.
maybe after you have this idea, then maybe it all depends on what time or the settings. Was she poor? Was she rich? Then from her character traits, from her circumstances, from maybe her occupations or whatever. From there, you can now start probably doing your research and and whatever thing you want to do. I always advise people to do like a scene breakdown. It depends on how long you want your movie to be, but I always advise people do a scene breakdown. Like it will guide you. It will help you. You could always add, you could always remove, but it makes it more easier for you. It makes it more detailed. It gives you like it's like a map. It tells you where you are going to. Do you understand? So after doing your scene breakdown, then you can now maybe start typing into your laptop, and then you could basically start writing. But there's no rules to it. You can even start writing if you feel like you already have it figured out in your head. You could just start typing right away on your laptop. So there's basically no rules to writing, basically.
Okay, so I watch movies a lot,
Okay.
and I've seen there's some dialogues that I watch, and I'm like, why is this dialogue so boring? It's not even real.
Yeah.
So how do you write a dialogue that it would look realistic enough?
Well, I don't really know, but for me, from what I know, sometimes, most time when you are writing, you know, a dialogue, sometimes you are advised to like read it out loud.
Okay.
Like you're about, like for example, if I'm to say, "Are you mad?" Do you understand? If there's a contest or like a mood board, basically, I'm supposed to like when you are writing, that's what you're advised to do. So I'll say you're like the what they call that thing. I tell you a message, you're the receiver, I'm the sender.
Yeah.
So I have to put myself in your emotions,
Okay.
and so that way,
Okay.
if you actually do it that way, you'll be very, very close to writing a perfect, realistic dialogue. Do you understand? But most times, at that stage where the dialogue start getting very tricky, the writer is already burned out. Let me be very, very honest with you. Yeah, because I've been there before. So most times, at the beginning, you are like, okay, you're so gingered, you're so hype, you want it to sound very, very. You see, by the 40th page, 30th page, you're like anything goes.
So how do you keep that
Exactly. The
that,
fire
that
burning.
passion from the beginning? How do you keep it?
Well, I'll say time.
Okay.
Time. Like, you are advised, basically, like, not to. You can't write the script in a week. It's possible, but you have to give yourself time. When you feel like you're having a writer's block, just give yourself time. And you're always advised to go back, read read through what you've written. You know, there's by the time you read it, safe at that, because when you're writing, your head is basically on fire.
Okay.
Do you understand? Especially when you're on a roll, you are just writing. Like you don't even have time to like, because if you stop to think, best believe me, you're definitely going to have a writer's block.
Wow.
So yeah, so basically, you're advised to like go back and reread or read through what you've written, and then by the time you're reading, you can even say, what kind of rubbish dialogue is this? You could always, change it and to a suitable or a much more better one, basically. So that's it.
So I would like to really know and understand better how closely related is it having to have a script and the characters, the characters performing the script. You explained to us about having the idea. Is it like you always put yourself every time you write any script in the shoes of those characters?
Yeah, basically, like as you're writing it out, you're already living it out in your head. When you're seeing an angry room, before you write a dialogue, you've already spoken it in your head. Or as you're writing it out, you're already speaking it in your head, like you're already muttering those words in your head as you're penning down those words, or as you're writing those words out. So yes, like you're basically putting yourself in, you're already seeing, you're already envisioned. That's why most times when writers go on set and then they're, and they're seeing like, their work being acted out to me, like they get pissed.
I was going to go to that because I was going to ask, like, how do you really, would it be the writer's fault or the person playing the role, the character? Because sometimes it's what they give us, it's what the character actually dishes out to us. We would not say, oh, it was not written well.
Okay, what I've learned basically in life is that like nobody can always get the picture in your head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you understand? Like
Okay.
nobody can always get it as much as you get it. People would always, if I read a book, if we're giving, both of us are giving the same novel or whatever. If there's a heroine or a hero or a villain, the way I'm going to envision my hero, the face, the structure, the whatever will be very, very different from yours. If I'm giving a sketch, or if I'm giving a canvas, like sketch out or draw a portrait of this, we'll notice that they might look similar, but we notice that there are differences. So I've learned that nobody can always get the full picture. They can always try as much as possible,
Okay.
but they can never satisfy you 100%. They could give you 70, 80 at best, but never 100.
Okay, so if you had to choose, which would you say is more important? Plot or character development?
Both are very, very important.
Okay.
You can't do without. I mean, you can't basically do without the other. Like, one can do without the other. They are very, very
So
important.
for the sake of we that we don't know what
Okay.
can you just tell us?
I'll say plot is
what
like the way like your storyline progresses, maybe from we call from your conflict to your resolution, from your climax to your like your anti-climax. So it tells how the story progresses.
Okay.
If it's typical African magic, movie about how a boy, maybe an orphan, became a rich man. The story progression is how probably how he left his village to the city,
Okay.
maybe how he suffered in the. Do you understand? So plot is very, very important when you're writing. And then character development, it's like I'll say maybe your character traits, the trait that your character possesses. Do you understand? Like when you're watching a movie now, for instance, you already know that if this person is quick to anger, you already know because you've seen it. Do you understand? You've already seen probably some of his reaction at the initial, progress of the story. So you already know what he's capable of doing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Maybe if he's one that is very, very kind, and from the initial story, you've already seen it. Then towards maybe the middle, maybe if he find himself in a very, very tricky situation whereby he would need to be kind, he will need to be kind, and him being kind will probably get him in trouble. You will be afraid because you've already known that this is one of his character
Okay.
flaws, or this is one of his flaws, or this is one of, I don't know, this is one of his virtues that will probably lead to his downfall. So it's part of his character development. That's why when you watch some movies, you feel like this character is not well developed. Do you understand? Maybe you're watching a movie about a banker, and then you're seeing that the banker, maybe this particular storyline revolves around the banker and her job in the banking world.
Yeah.
Then first of all, she's not acting like a banker. That character is not well
You're not even
developed.
seeing the
Do you
office
understand?
and all.
And maybe she's supposed to have maybe one her emotional traits. It's just here and there. Those characters are not well developed. Just like let's take Eniola Salami for example in King of Boys. That's a well developed character. We can see her traits. We can see her flaws. Like no area is lacking.
Okay.
So yes, so both of them are very, very because if you ignore your plots and you focus on character development, and the story is always very important. The story supersedes everything. So if with story without plot is basically nothing. So that's just what I think it is.
So what would you say is your most challenging script you've written?
I don't think I've written, to be honest with you, I don't think for me, I've never really written anything that I feel like is challenging enough,
Wow.
basically.
So
Wow.
what kind of script would you like to write that would challenge you?
First of all, I'd like to write something that is, I won't say it's sci-fi. I would never say it's sci-fi. Maybe it's sci-fi, but I want to write something that would propel me to like, I feel like whenever I'm writing, I know within my heart of heart that I've never put in, okay, let's say I've put in like maybe 90% or maybe 80%, but I'm 100% sure that I've not like, I've not explored like the limits of my,
Imaginations.
exactly. So I want
Okay.
a script that will push me to that limit, like that will push me, that will get me all invested, that will get me all,
Thinking.
wanting to
researching.
put the best, wanting me to tear my, like, start writing at first, till I get it
Wow.
right. Do you understand? I think I want to do that. I wouldn't want to do something that, okay, I've done 80%. I'm like, okay, let me just push it out there. I want to do something that, that will test my limit, that will expand me, that will, yes, I'm still looking forward to that.
Okay. But also, how best or what I like using this word, what environment do you give your best? Do you like to do things on your own ideas, or you work better in a team? When heads are put together, when it's not just like you have to, this is all on you. Okay, I have this to write, I have this story to finish, I have to, So what's the energy like?
Well, I feel like I work better both ways. Do you understand? The more, for me, I feel like more I even to it makes it more easier for me. Basically,
So
like,
how do you collide the ideas?
well, first of all, you first of all have to disagree to agree.
Okay.
First of all, but in the long run, if you have to push your ego aside as a writer because you always feel like you have a better narrative. You always feel like you have a much more, your own narrative is out of this world or whatever.
Okay.
But you always have to always push your ego aside and then listen to what maybe your co-writer is saying, and then weigh which one do you think which one is best. You always have to think for what is best for the story. Do you understand? What is best for your in fact, it's what is best for the story. So, in long run, you have to always settle for and your idea might not be what's best for the story. Do you understand? So, his or her idea might be what's best for the story. So, that's basically what it is.
Okay, so what would be that your advice, like in working in a team, like what would be your advice to younger writers out there working in a team, for example? Because it's not easy coming to that phase where I have to let down my own idea for your own to come through. It doesn't really matter, means rather that your own idea is not valid. You understand? So what would you say would propel a younger writer?
Like I said earlier, first of all, you have to, if you're working in a team or if you're hoping to work in a team, basically, you have to, let down. You have to, forgo your ego and just focus on the story. You guys have to come together. You guys have to, come together to, focus. Everything else is
Secondary.
it's secondary.
Okay.
The story is primary, first of all. So first of all, you have to always put the story first. That's what you guys should always think about. If you are working in a team, if you're a writer aspiring to work in a team, is when you are together with your teammates or your team members, you guys should always realize that the story comes first. Your idea comes second. Obviously, you have to you have to state your ideas for it to be evaluated. But
Alright.
your ideas are, if in the long run, if it's not suitable for the story, don't feel hurt or don't feel neglected.
Okay. Okay.
So, as a scriptwriter, you must have seen lots and lots of Nollywood movies. So, what movie have you seen that you would like to rewrite if given the opportunity?
Well, I would say probably Ghost and the Doubts, probably Lottery. Yeah, most probably
What would you write differently about it?
I don't know. I feel like, first of all, the character, I feel like Oloture is not well developed, basically. I mean, I feel like I would make her more daring.
Okay.
Do you understand? I'll make the character more daring. And then I'll add more, like I said, element of realism is key. I feel like they said it's a true life story, but I'm looking at it like side
It's not
eye.
realistic.
Side eye.
Bombastic side eye.
Do you understand? So I'll probably maybe add more element of realism. I'll make Oloture character more daring. I'll add more twists and turns, more. Because, there's a whole lot of documents we said that they've written since 19, God knows when, about trafficking.
Yeah.
There's NAPTIP, there's too many
Yeah.
documentaries and
That's
whatever.
true.
And when you read these stories, they are more gory because
Yeah.
actually life is more stranger than fiction. So why don't you
Yeah.
focus on that instead of, I think I'll probably focus more on that aspect. So yeah. So basically that's, I think, one of the scripts I feel like I would love to rewrite and maybe go stand it out. Because I read it and I watched it and I'm like, okay, what's this? So maybe that one.
Okay, so who would you say is the script writer you look up to in the
Okay,
Nollywood
yeah.
industry?
Well, the great thing about Nollywood is that they don't really highlight script writers.
Can you
Yeah,
give them credit.
they give them credit. You only find the credits when you are going through the end credits, the closing credits. That's when you realize, okay, written by. They don't really. I feel like they're not celebrated enough. Do you understand? I feel like they are not celebrated enough. So I don't really know much.
So
Basically,
how would you like them to be celebrated? In what way?
the way they praise actors, the way do you understand? Why script writers could actually be praised like that, so we could get more recognition, more awards. Do you understand? Like the way actors, even directors. Come on, even directors are much more respected, well known than even writers. The only writer I know for sure that I really look up to, I hear their names more often are directors that are writers, like Kunle Afolayan, like Kemi Adetiba, like Biodun Steven, and these people are all writers and also directors as well. So yeah.
Okay.
So, as a scriptwriter, what stands you out, or what stands you? Okay. As a scriptwriter, what stands you out from other scriptwriters? What's that unique thing about you that you're like, I am different, that makes you different from other scriptwriters?
Today I got a compliment from I think a director was recommending me to somebody, and what he told the person is when you're reading a script, you feel like you already you feel like you're there, like you're already seeing yourself in that character. And for me, like that was like one of the highest compliment I can get as a writer, because whatsoever form of writer that you are, you want your reader, to like see themselves in those characters, to feel like they're watching is it a 3D movie or whatever? Like
They're
they're
right
watching
there
it.
happening.
Exactly. So for me, I want to be able to like. For me, I feel like my ability to write very, very to make it more compelling. Do you understand? And my ability to create suspense. Exactly. And my ability to like, draw you into the story. Do you understand? I feel like for me, that's what makes it stand out for me. Because whenever I turn in my work, people always tell me, okay, it's way different, it's well detailed, and I always try to make sure it's very much well detailed. So the details I put into my stories are actually what makes it stand out.
So, when you write a script, is it that you just go to Microsoft Word? What software do you use? What software are you comfortable using?
There are so many softwares, basically for scriptwriting. There's Celtest, there's Jotapad, there's Writers Duet. Actually, I use DubScript.
Okay.
Yes.
DubScript.
Yeah, that's what I basically use. And I use Celtest too once in a while, but I basically use DubScript.
So what is the most important aspect? Because to me, it's like, I have a story, okay, this is what happened. What's the most important aspect? There are so many important, but what is that most important aspect when writing a script?
Like I said earlier, first of all, aside from your story, you have to recognize, character development is key. When you're writing a story, plot progression is key, your action is key, beats, when to impute beats, beats is like the heartbeat of a story. It tells when, you're watching a movie, then you drop a punchline, and then there's this, this soundtrack or whatever.
Okay.
It's key.
That's part of script writing.
Yeah, it's part of script writing too as well.
You give space for the soundtrack, or
No, you
you
don't
have.
call it soundtrack, you call it beats.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Then your dialogue. Dialogue is also very, very key in script writing. Actions to your locations. First of all, even as a writer, first of all, you have to think about the locations that, where you want this scene to play out. If you want it in a plateau, if you want it in the air, if you want it in a fictional, whatever setting, so these are very, very key elements in
I never
script
knew
writing.
about
And
that.
then your mood board too as well. What do you call
What is a mood board?
mood board, the bracket, emotions. Do you understand? Not everybody throws it in, because basically if you read Hollywood script, they expect you as an actor to use your head, because when you're reading the dialogue, you're supposed to know what context
Kind of mood,
Okay.
this person is saying. But me,
okay.
basically, I always go an extra mile to put a mood board. Do you understand?
so
a mood bracket or whatever.
Okay, so you know the reaction and how to
Yeah,
react. Okay.
I do it sometimes, but these days I'm trying to do away with it. So
Okay, so basically now in Nollywood movie, what kind of stories are you more comfortable to write? Series, feature-length films, comedy? What
let me
genre?
not lie to you. I feel like I rather right now. I don't want to do comedy anymore. Maybe
Why so?
maybe because I write. I've written a lot of skits, so I'm just so tired of the whole comedy. Let me not lie to you, but I mean, I'm really very tired of comedy. Yeah, I think I want to do romance. I'll probably want to
Okay.
do horror. I want
Wow.
to do.
Given the opportunity to change something, to change a narrative in about script writing in Nollywood, what would you do differently as a scriptwriter?
First of all, I think I'll focus more on the story. I'll focus more on character development
Okay.
than glamour, than the aesthetics. People spend so much time focusing on, most movies I've seen these days anyways, focus more on the kind of house, the kind of cars, the kind of clothes she's wearing, the wig.
Okay.
Do you understand? I'm talking about shallow stuff that don't
Okay.
add anything to the story, that don't like add anything to the plot progression of the story. Do you
Okay,
understand?
okay.
That when you take it out, it's basically useless.
Useless. All right.
I tell people, I say every, I don't tell people, but I say every time that, I mean, people don't come to watch a movie like for the house. No, obviously it adds to the, it's like it adds, it spices up
I feel
the
Yeah.
movie, because oh, you need to see how big it adds more to the character development of your character. But I mean, I can't be watching the house all through. Do you understand? Something
Yeah.
has to happen in the house.
House.
Yeah.
Something has to be dramatic. Oh, maybe can you imagine how big this house was? There was a ghost in it. Can you imagine how big this house was?
Haunted.
Somebody killed somebody in this fine house. Can you imagine how big this house was?
Okay.
A girl walked away from it and went to live in a hut with somebody. Like, they have to be drama. They have to be. It's a movie for God's sake. We want drama. Do you understand?
Okay,
We don't want
alright.
glamour. Which, I mean, glamour is cool, but come on, less glamour, more character development,
Storyline.
more plot progression. You know, more viable, reasonable, coherent
Okay.
dialogues. So yes, that's what I'll probably do differently.
as a scriptwriter, there's this saying that the scriptwriter should not be the director, because the scriptwriter has the whole character and
passionate
everything
about
you
the
want.
story,
So
and
if you're a director, it is, if you're the scriptwriter and also the director, it is what you have in your head you want to see the actors do. How do you cope
Exactly.
with that, especially when the actors are telling you, oh, I want, okay, fine, I understand this is your vision, I understand you're the scriptwriter, but can I also, bring in my own input to make the character full?
I feel like most times it's best as a script writer to be the director of. It's best. It doesn't happen every time, basically, but because that way you stay true to the story. Do you understand? You already know what you have in your head. Like, you already know what your characters look like. You know how she wants to say that word. I feel like that way you could actually stay true to that story, and then you could, probably it's on a level, maybe 100. You could take it to 200. Do you understand?
Okay.
But don't you think you're
You allow your sense of emotions cloud.
yeah, and then also you're not letting the actors bring in their own input to make the character
I
much
feel
more
like, first of all,
robust?
as an actor, your job is to act.
Sure.
You're not to worry about anything else but act. You're supposed to just look at the scripts and do what the script. That's the first rule of
True,
acting,
true.
basically.
True, but then as an actor, it's not just acting.
Okay.
You have to bring that character to life
Okay.
beyond acting.
Okay.
You have to be that character.
Well, if your director tells you, I mean, your idea is nice, but I don't want it, you don't have a choice than to do what the director tells you to do, because in the long run, most times that whenever movies flop, nobody comes and say, "Oh my God, it was." They always say it was the director, or it could be better. Except if they've seen the actor act phenomenal movies in the.
Okay.
They would always say the director didn't do it well. Do you understand? So if the director tells you, in the long run, you have to heed to what the script says and what your director says. So if you're unlucky, or if you're lucky, your director is your scriptwriter and she's telling you, I don't want this, I want that. You don't have a choice than to, do what the director says. But if the director is a very logical person, basically, and then you're telling her, well, I feel like this. See, what I always tell people is that, what I always say, what I know and what I feel, that everybody wants, it's just like if I give you this, if you give me your shirt, and then one day I add, stones, maybe precious stones, maybe gold and diamonds to it. Don't tell me you say, oh, why did you spoil my clothes? Like, you love it. You even tell me, like, you'll be happier. So if it's actually good enough, like if the director says that it's going to make her story, or the scripter feels like it's going to make her story better, obviously she will welcome such advices or such input with open arms. So basically, that's what I think.
What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome to another interesting episode on Cool Reaction. Today we are going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic. I am your host, Bona Efwa.
And I am Inobanti.
And I am Tunji Williams.
Okay, our
the
guest
ladies.
already introduced himself. He is Tunji Williams, the guest of the day. Today we are going to be talking about surviving heartbreak. See this man here, I'm sure he has gone through a series of heartbreaks. So he's going to tell us how he was able to survive it, the healing process and all. See, he likes to talk and he's a man of wisdom. So, Mr. Tunji Williams.
Are we starting with me?
Yes, please, let's start with you. Can you just tell us probably one of the numerous heartbreaks that you've gone through? Have you ever gone through a heartbreak?
Not really. Not
Okay, I mean,
really.
they break my heart.
No,
Open
no,
my heart.
no. Nobody's even breaking anything.
Okay.
But then I've not really been through heartbreaks.
Okay.
But I have an idea how people could survive heartbreak if I'm ever going to go through heartbreak.
So nobody don't break your heart.
You have
People they try. People they try.
You
But
have never.
it's so hard. No, it's so hard. People have tried. People have tried.
So
But it's so hard because
how
it's
is it possible that no one has ever?
The thing is, I'm in relationship. It's not as if I'm playing a defensive mode, but I'm so observant that it's quite hard for me to not observe when things are going wrong. And when I observe things going wrong, I try to play the card ahead of the game. Like I try to let go of the relationship even before you decide to tell me. It's like being aware of election results before. If you are at the collation center, you already know the results before
Okay.
being announced by INEC. So
Alright.
if you've gotten your results, you can make whatever decision you want to before INEC announces
So it's
it.
more like you build a fence around your heart, or you are always one step ahead of the person.
I won't use the word. I won't say being step ahead. I'm just a very observant person. That when things don't go the usual way, I tend to ask questions as much as possible, and if the response is negative, and I start connecting dots. How
So
far?
at what point do you feel, oh, this person is going to break up with me? Is it that you see?
The thing is, I don't think emotionally all the time.
Wow.
Do you understand? There are some things that if you look at logically, you would the red flags are always there in relationship when there's that time for a breakup time. Not in all cases, but majority of the cases, people don't just go, oh, I'm not doing anymore. Before people say I'm not doing anymore, there are some signs you would have seen. There are some less efforts being put in making the relationship work and all those. There are some things that must have happened. Now it's not left to you to either look away or attend to this thing. So when if I've seen negative things and I've called your attention to it and you are not willing to work on them and all that, I already sense, okay, this is where this might lead to. And even when it looks like it's almost getting there, I can then pull off. It's like me breaking up before you breaking up. So like in my mind, I've already let you go. So I might now give what was it called? I might now give benefit of doubt, like, okay, let me give room. She might get herself back. But if you're not getting yourself back, I'll just let go.
Okay, well, when you try to give benefit of doubt, what's your time frame?
It does not really have exact time frame. The thing is, majorly people like to give you hints when it's breakup time. Sometimes ladies in particular likes to frustrate you out of a relationship. Do you understand? Not even ladies, both genders.
Okay.
They call you 6 hours. I can't they call you 1 hour. Something is wrong. So it's just left for you to ask me and communicate with me. So how far was wrong? If I'm not able to give you tangible reasons, something is wrong. It's something you should pay attention to. Don't overlook it. Do you understand? From my own aspect. So this is vice versa. If you are doing something you don't do on a normal day and I'm calling your attention to it, I know you are not giving exact
Same vibe.
do you understand? So, and may I understand some cases whereby you are in a relationship and there's another relationship, because people do that a lot. There's another relationship that a girl is looking at. So that period, she could maltreat you because she's trying to see if that will work. So that process where she's trying to see if that will work, if that does not work, then she comes back. Do you understand? Sometimes those things happen. That changes in your partner happens when there's a possible relationship outside. Until it does not work, that's when they come back and get back to being normal. So me, I don't give space
So that.
for
Okay.
that. If the moment I sense you are not putting in effort, I need to know why. So if you are not giving me tangible reasons, I'm big on communication. If you are not giving me tangible reasons, me, Omoba, I don't
So you don't like to
Oh.
throw all your eggs in one basket.
please,
Hoping there.
please. And that's why I'm saying that
Okay.
I'll give you benefit of doubts. Do you get? And those does not have a certain period of time. Do you get? It's a relationship. It's 4 years relationship, and you change for 2 months. It's allowed. That means we've been together for 12 months times 4, and you are changing for 2 months. It's allowed. You are human.
Okay.
But if it stays longer than that, and I'm trying to communicate with you, and I'm not getting any concrete reason, any tangible reasons for your actions, it's easy for me to calculate that, okay, I think it's getting to that time, we're getting tired of each other. Because I would actually be vocal about it, that, are you tired of me, or do you need space, or what is happening? Do you
So are you
get?
someone that would give your girl space if you say she needs space?
It's breakup. Oh. It's breakup. Oh. Which space?
No, it might not necessarily be breakup. You know, at times you might be in a relationship and it's more like, this guy, I just need a me time. A me time. And it's not like it's necessarily I want breakup from you. So I just
No,
need a me time.
that's the thing about communication. Sometimes you can need to find yourself. Now, you must. That's what I'm saying. If you have a tangible reason, it does not even depends on me finding it reasonable. It's something that has to be reasonable generally.
Okay.
Do you understand? For example, if you need to focus on your career and you feel your life is centered all around me, blah 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 blah, and I can see that, okay, this is, even if it is just an excuse to be with somebody else, if it's in as much as it's genuine, because you can actually have a good reasons for, you can have a genuine excuse for something that's a lie. Do you understand? Good luck to you if that works with me. Do you get? So if the reason just has to be, the excuse just has to be genuine, it has to be mutual. We need to understand each other that, okay, babe, this is what you want to do for now. This is what I will. Because I like people living their lives as well. Even though you're in a relationship, it shouldn't be centered around me and all that. So I get where you're coming from about getting space.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But the space does not involve, you cannot set some certain rules, which those rules definitely mean you are breaking up. Do you understand? So I don't like people eating their cake and having it. You cannot pause a relationship with me to attend to another relationship, and then if that does not work out, you come back to me. That's like eating your cake and have it. So I will try to be sure that you are not trying to attend to another relationship.
Okay. All right. You said you have not experienced heartbreak. Okay, so for those who, I'm sure you must have broken people's hearts, and
I've
you
not
are
broken
saying-
anybody's
Are you
heart.
sure?
It has to be vice versa.
If nobody has broken your heart, you must have broken someone's
People
heart.
don't really. We don't need to break each other's heart before breaking up now. It does
Anyway,
not have
so
to-
how would you say it's a best way to survive heartbreak?
Generally, for human being, the most important thing is growth.
Okay.
Even for friendship. If you have an old friend that you guys were super close, and then for some certain reason you guys separated, you realize that once you grow, it's so easy for that person to reconnect. If most cases where two friends are having issues and they are not sorting it out, is either because one of them is not on the same level. Do you understand? One of them they are not finding reasons to crave each other anymore. That means you don't have much to add to me, because even countries that fight war, they come to terms when maybe you have oil and I have something.
Yeah,
We
something
reach
of
mutual
value.
agreement. So you understand. So for relationship, whether there's heartbreak or not, you need to grow after breaking up, after leaving a certain relationship. That is one thing that can actually help you get yourself. And one of the ways you can also survive is focusing on your values, yourself. Realizing how I'm trying to look at how to put this down. Getting to know your own values, who you are, your abilities, your special skills, and all those things. Because when you're in relationship, there's high tendency you might forget yourself. You know how emotions are. It's so easy to forget. Oh, I can play piano. Oh, I forgot I can play piano. Do you understand? So,
Getting yourself
rather than focusing on the person, except you've centered your life around the person, rather than focusing on the person, because I'm not a fan of healing through other people.
Okay.
Like, if you just leave a relationship, I don't advise you to jump into another one right away, because you don't even know if you like the person or you're just trying to get over
what's
this guy.
So, what do you think is the time frame for a person that is going through heartbreak? Like, how long? Take for instance now.
Okay.
You see a girl, you like her, you ask her out, and she's telling you, "Oh, I just came out of heartbreak," and you really like her. So, how long do you think you can give her to like heal?
For me, I think you should take all the time in the world to
But you
heal.
actually like her, and you want to have something to do with her.
And she just went through heartbreak.
Let's say she.
Even me, I won't want her. Because I would spend majority of my time trying to prove to her I'm not her ex. I won't treat her like my ex. Do you understand? She needs to have gotten past that stage in her head that, okay, this just went this way. Funny enough, the ex might not even necessarily be a bad person. Do you understand? But the moment I show up after that breakup, there are some traits in me that her ex-boyfriend had. So it's so hard for her not to see those. And I can't spend my time trying to prove to you I'm not your ex. That means even when I don't want to call you, I have to call you.
You know?
Do you understand? Or I have to start explaining why I like to turn off the lights. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's you need to go through that healing process yourself. I'm not the one to help. I can't help you. Because majorly, guys have so many things in common. And I cannot say I'm not like your ex. We have so many things in common. The only thing I can tell you is, okay, maybe I will not break your heart. But you see, every other thing he did, I might do them. Do you understand? So I don't want to be in that situation where I'll have to keep trying to prove myself. It's a very
draining.
very draining. Do you understand? It's an unending process. We can keep having kids and keep doing, and you still feel insecure. Yes. I don't like to put myself, and I don't like to put anybody in that kind of situation as well. If I was heartbroken, I wouldn't want to put you in that kind of situation. I would like to heal. So if it takes you 6 months, if it takes you 3 months, if it takes you 1 year, depending on how damaged your heart is, please take it. It's you need to be healthy for us to start up something. If you are not healthy, it's very, very bad for me. We waste time. Listen, an example is I like growth. I like to talk about progress with whoever I'm with. So I don't like using that time to talk about, oh babe, how far with your masters now? You should go next month. And you are talking to me about who's that girl? Who did you talk to? Okay, you want me to go for my masters so you can start. Like, if I'm not in that space in my head, you're pulling me back. So now I have to come to that state to prove to you that, no, I'm asking you to go for your masters because of this. Do you understand? But if you're in your good state, you've gone past that stage of, that is why I feel. So as per time to heal, I don't think there's actually a time barrier. Take as much time as possible. Not as if you're going to spend the rest of your life attending to heartbreak, but take as much time as possible to heal. Because of you need to be healthy because of the next person.
So who do you think handles breakup well, the male or the female?
That's a tricky question. The thing is, we can't really rate how men handle relationship breakups, because we actually do not show emotions. Do you understand? Men don't even speak out. You even know, like men, they see heartbreak, they go down for body, normal, and they live like say nothing happened. Do you understand? A woman will still show it that something is happening to her. She might stop making her hair for a while and like reduce in size and all those because she's crying. But a man has to show he's strong.
But why though?
And that's just how we're programmed. That's our agenda. That's how we need to show strength at every time. The moment you show weakness, it's almost as if you are less a man. So you can't show too much emotion. So it's hard to women are the ones who handles who handle heartbreak majorly. Men, we just live with it and move on. I don't think men do heal self.
We just take it like that.
Men just take it like that, and it has happened. It has happened. They don't really try to heal or try to know. If you break a man's heart, the next morning you see him chasing girls around and all those things.
So
And that's not even because he wants to heal.
Okay.
First and foremost, it happens with guys a lot that once there's a heartbreak, we are chasing girls all around. But if you notice, even if a guy is the one that broke a girl's heart, he will still chase a woman. Because the moment we're out of relationship, it looks like we just got freedom. Do you understand? So it's not because there's a heartbreak. We'll chase women once we're out of relationship because we feel we are a bit free. So it's not even because...
Is it more like an excuse? Or is it something, because I don't want it to be like the genre of that's what men do.
That's what men do, basically.
Okay.
If a man is in a relationship and he just left the relationship, just pay attention to. You will see him chasing more girls and.
So are you
having
telling me
multiple sex.
he has been in bondage or he wasn't happy in that relationship?
Commitment requires a whole lot of things. Commitment makes you reduce some certain things. Do you
But that
understand?
is discipline.
I don't know. Discipline, commitments. I don't know. You might be committed to someone and okay. You can be disciplined and not be committed to someone. But I just want to talk about commitments. Like if you are committed to someone, you reduce. You can still sleep around. But you have to reduce it to a certain. No matter what, that commitment level has to show that I'm with a girl. But the moment you are not committed to anybody anymore,
A
you
freelance
want to
person.
move to your whole face. Do you get? So for a guy, it's not. We don't really attend to heartbreak per se. Okay, let me talk about the few numbers or the few percentage of guys that attends to heartbreak.
Okay.
It's even hard because even when you are weak and your friends are around you, men are not built to come and be telling you, oh, no worry, she go come back, oh, no worry, this and that. We like the moment you're talking to your guy that says a person broke your heart, I tell you to man up, to move on. Do you understand? If you are not moving on, we'll record your cry and post it on TikTok and talk about it. Do you understand?
Okay.
So that's why we don't really attend to heartbreaks. We just move on. Do you
In
understand?
other words,
So women are the ones who take their time to try to heal and all those things. A man does not necessarily have to heal. He does not want to heal before moving into next relationship or anything. Do you
Okay.
get?
Okay, I also want to know how it works because with the little you have said now, I have an understanding that you sort of always have your mind guided in the relationship. It's not you being so defensive, but you have it guided. But when it comes to that stage, when it comes to that final stage where you both have to part ways, how do you go about it? Do you make it quite mutual? You discuss about it like, oh, babe, okay, this is where we come to the end of the road, or
Okay.
how do you make that
Okay, I get
happen?
your point. I like the question. That means you are trying to imply that means I still have to break somebody's heart to go.
obviously.
The thing is,
Or you just run away?
The thing is, I'm somebody that, if I'm in a relationship, I'm willing to work so many things out. Firstly, I will not break up with you because you slept with somebody else. For every girl that I've dated can actually testify. I will not break up with you because you slept with somebody else.
Wow.
Provided you are adding value to me. Provided you have things. If what you are doing in the relationship is just to sleep with me and pick up call, yes, I will break up with you. But I've never been with girls that's the only thing they do in my life. I have girls that I've been with, there are other things they do other than. So sex is not the only reason that will keep us together. So sex cannot be the main reason I will leave you. Do you understand? So for me to be willing to reach a compromise if you cheat on me, if you have sex with somebody else, that is to explain to you how much I'm always willing to work things out. Because relationships are like SIM cards and phones. If I'm using a particular SIM card on my phone, I have my number stored in it. It's easy for me to just dial. So for me to now get a new SIM card and start saving numbers, and telling people, oh, hello, this is my new number. It's not an easy thing for me. So it's not as if it is something that's why I'm saying I don't think I really break people's heart, because it can't be easy for me to want to say I want to change my line. I like to use a particular line for long, but if the network is not working or the SIM is not working anymore, that's the best thing to do. So for me to get to that point where I have to go.
So how do we actually sort this out? So, for example, how do you handle this? My girlfriend, your girlfriend, or your boyfriend happen to cheat on you, have sex around, and you get to know. Would you rather continue with the relationship or break up?
For me, I think I've said it here before that having sex with somebody else is not what will break my relationship.
Wow.
Except you are not adding anything to relationship. If that is what is keeping us, then we might break up. But it's so hard for me to date a girl that the only thing you add to me is sex.
Are you saying sex doesn't have a value in your relationship?
Sex has value, but it's not the center of what keeps us together. That's what I'm saying.
For me,
No, it's like marriage. It's like marriage.
Mm.
And what Kunle, what was that Kunle guy said? Adekunle Good. That love is not enough. Do you understand? The same way for me in relationships, sex is not enough. Sex is what it starts with. Do you understand? That creates the bond, but there are so many other factors. So if these factors are so much, it can actually make me let go of the sex. It does not mean I will encourage it, but I will not break up with you because you slept with somebody else. Never. Relationships I've had in my life, I've never had any reason to break up because you slept with somebody else. I might have broken up for some other reasons. No, I might have broken up for some other reasons.
Could there be more severe reasons to break up with a girl rather than sex, for example?
Yes. I've broken up with...
So are you... wait, I don't understand. You're telling me sex is not enough
Sex is
for
not...
you to break up with your babe?
I'm telling you, for me, I've used SIM card as an example. I said for me, if I'm using a SIM card for 2 years and I have to get a new SIM card, so I will have to start calling people like, hey, this is my new number, hey, this is my new number, or I have to... Do you understand? That process is usually a lot.
Where you're coming from, to my understanding, where you're coming from is like you're more secured or concerned about your environment, people who knows about your relationship.
No.
So why?
No. I'm telling you the process. I'm not telling you people's opinion. Now, if I break up with herself, I think that will have to do with people's opinion. Do you get?
Okay.
But I'm telling you about what I'm focused on. If there are some things you add to me, for me to call you my partner, for me to be in a committed relationship, there's a whole lot of things you are adding to me, not just sex. I can get sex anywhere. Okay. Do you get?
Okay, how about also a situation where your girlfriend or your boyfriend had to sleep with a client or a boss to get a job for his or herself, and you get to find out later?
Not even for me, for herself.
Yeah, for herself. It's a relationship now.
Yeah,
whatever is good for her is also good for you.
No.
I mean, when it comes to that,
she will have to go with the
She
boss.
did it for himself.
yes.
For who?
For herself or for himself. Maybe, probably. If
Why
it's your,
why did he have to do that?
would you rather want to date
Did he have to
a
sleep?
guy that
Did he have
is
to
jobless?
sleep? No, did he have to?
No, would you
sleep
rather
with-
date a guy that is
Now-
so jobless?
No, but you didn't.
he had
You
to get a
didn't
job.
have to sleep with someone together. There are other means to get a
I'm
job.
talking about a multi-millionaire.
You don't have to sleep with someone to get that job.
Okay, for me, I've been in a committed relationship, and my experience is communication. If I had an opportunity to get contract and the boss is flirting with me, the first person I want to gist will be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Say, Alpha, babe, this baby, I want to make her knack. Do you understand? what I'm saying?
But it's okay. Like,
So
it's
if
cool
it's
for
like
you
that,
being a
it
guy.
has to be vice versa.
And that's what I'm
He
saying
has
now.
to let me know that, our boss, they look at one kind, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So for a girl to make that kind of, if you make it behind me,
Okay.
nah.
It's a big problem.
Because now I will
Okay.
calculate ahead of day. That means you have a price. That means for you to get another
Okay.
job, you will sleep with somebody else.
A bigger
That means
job.
Because
You
once
have-
you
Yeah,
tried
now,
it, you keep.
you have a
continue.
price, and it's very dangerous.
So-
Although every human
so
has
for
a
every
price, but your own
multi-million
is
job
very.
that you have, if they bring it that you have to have sex with me, so for every if it's like 10 multi-million
So I have to
jobs,
calculate
you
that
have
for
to
you.
sleep with those.
on my own side, I'll call it quits too. I'll call it quits.
Because
actually.
obviously
I'll
you're telling
call
me
it
that you
quits.
have a
But it's not as
price.
if I cannot permit to. I need you to
No, it's
understand. I
different-
like
it's
growth. I
different.
like
I
money.
understand you. I understand.
I like
you.
success.
But it's
I can
different-
permit.
Yeah, wait. It's different when
But
it
you
has
have
been
to accept.
discussed with you
But
before.
it has to be discussed.
You
yes.
understand
I like
me?
communication.
But
Like,
that fear now, you know,
let
ladies
me
now, they're
know.
not going to always discuss them with you. That fear say, okay, they talk with you.
So I mean, that means we encourage people to communicate more in relationships then,
Oh,
because
fine.
me, if you communicate with me,
But you know, there's some kind of communication
no, that will not work.
that will be misconstrued or misconstrued. Yeah?
Break that down.
Oh,
please.
dear.
Go on.
There's some kind of communication, like she might tell you, or
And
she
I
might
misunderstand.
yes.
Yeah.
She might just like,
Okay.
see this man,
Okay.
No.
there's a job and he's asking me out, and you might like, not everyone is matured upstairs.
Okay. That has nothing to do with maturity, though.
How do you handle it?
It's not maturity. That's just what I'm saying.
So how do you
If-
handle it?
If you tell him something and he does not agree, it's because he does not agree, not because he's not matured enough to
No, when I
understand.
said, no, you're not getting me. I'm not saying he's agreeing. It's more like, oh, after the end of the day, you're gisting with your babe, or you're gisting with your guy, and you're like, oh, this my boss in the office is actually asking me out. He's been flirting with me. Now, it's not every guy that would take it as a normal gist. Some people would actually take it as an offense.
Okay, for every relationship, there's a level of which everybody communicates. Do you
Okay.
understand? There are people know how they communicate to themselves.
okay.
There are some people that is after sex. There are some
Or
people that
during
is,
sex.
there are some people that you have to just tell them things jokingly. That's why you have
Okay.
to sit them down. It does not have anything to do with maturity. Now, except when the person is not accepting what you are saying, that's when it looks like the person does not understand you. Do you get? If you are communicating with him or her in a way you usually communicate, and he's saying no not because he does not understand. He does not even want to consider it.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what you are saying. I've had people say that several times. Oh, my boyfriend does not understand.
Okay,
I've tried
okay.
to. Oh, my girlfriend might not understand. There's nothing like anybody does not understand. First, if you are dating somebody, that means you are coming down to that person's level, or you are going up
okay.
to that person's level. So there's a way you guys will communicate.
Okay.
It is not. Let's not. I think we just try to play
Okay.
PT card.
Okay. I
when we are
get.
saying
I
he does
get.
not understand.
How about this? Pardon, like I'm emphasizing on sex
sure,
and all
sure.
of that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, but
Sex
but
is part of-
there is a scenario
important
there,
in the world.
from experience. There was a scenario rather where actually saw someone else video having sex, or rather the babe was sending nudes, video, and all of that. Like me as the guy, they see him. Mo will leave my own reaction. How would you react to that? Good?
Action.
All right, fine. How about this scenario actually from a real life experience? You know, your partner who you're so much in long-term relationship with, having to send nudes, or you get to see nude videos of him or the babe to some other person. How do you handle that? How do you handle that? Because it once happened to me, you know. So how do you handle that?
Would you
Like your guy,
would you like
is,
to
you know,
do
sending
Why?
nude pictures to some other
Why
girl.
should he, or why would he? I will not. Since
Sometimes they don't have a
you're-
reason. It might just
I don't.
for
Just,
fun.
just go be with the person.
I swear to God Almighty, it has happened to me before.
You
but
know.
the thing is,
Yeah.
me and the babe did not break up. That's what I'm saying. Me, when you say someone cheats,
Yeah.
the way I calculate it is, I don't even calculate it as you guys had sex once.
Okay.
I'll calculate so many things. I'll
Alright.
calculate it as, because I'm a young guy here. I've cheated with girls too. I've slept
Sure,
with girls that have
sure,
boyfriends.
sure.
So in the process, I know what we might have done.
You know.
So even if you're not telling me you did this, I've calculated the guy. Okay, you must have done this. Do you understand? So I've been in that situation.
I have been there too.
Uh-huh.
So-
It was even.
So how did you
it
react?
Was even.
the funny part is
How
I
did you react?
actually still stayed in that relationship for a longer period of time.
Really?
Yes, for a longer period of time. For a longer period of
That's what I keep
time.
saying about guys that.
And you,
I started asking my-
you didn't have insecurity issues.
I did, but I tried to overcome it. But I started having these thoughts later on. Like, was it that this kum was too sweet for me that I couldn't leave it? That I had to stay.
No. That's what I would like to ask you.
You understand
Do
me?
you think it was just
No,
the
I
sex?
was having random
Do you think it was
thoughts
just
in
the
my.
sex that kept you?
No, it wasn't.
That is
It
what I
wasn't
was
because
saying.
So
I
why
looked at it beyond that, because if we extract that incident out of it, she really loved me. She a lot of things she's done for me. There's a lot of things she's doing for
Okay,
me.
so why did she?
So
send her
when I
videos
said
out?
sex
That
is
I
never
really did
a-
not understand.
So when I said
I
sex
know-
can never be a reason I will break up with a girl, this is that I'm not entirely wrong. There are some things
But
that...
I'm looking that from way back. I was much
So
younger
now
then.
you
and
break up with her. Okay, this was my own scenario.
Okay.
The case, how everything happened, like it wasn't something far from me. In fact, even where they met and every other thing, I was aware.
You know everything.
No, I was aware. So when matter don't stop now, where I don't catch you, say how far you fuck up, you don't fuck up. So say after if you and girl break up, na fight, na consult, go they tell them how far in big past my own, all those kind of questions. So she was now gisting me about the times they had video calls and blah 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 blah.
And those were the periods. Probably she's in your
So like what me I'm saying is at the end of the day, maybe because I did not see nude. Do you understand? It still did not take away the fact that it still busts on you cheating. You don't cheat, you don't cheat.
brother,
Did it not
The
in
nude did
some
not
way
mean
mess
anything.
with you mentally? Like probably you're not doing what the other guy was doing to make her.
No. I disagree with that.
I'm coming.
Actually,
I'm
okay.
coming. In our previous conversation, I told you that I'm not the kind of guy that is willing to compete with anybody. This is me. Do you understand?
Okay.
So even if the guy didn't knock you 10 hours, if we do relationship, I don't tell you how far na 5 hours or na 2 hours.
You know.
How far you go feel dey on that level? Abi you won't go there 10. Because you will not go. I work on myself, definitely. I like working on myself. But I'm not the kind of person that wants to say, okay, this guy you cheated on me with. Is it this? Is it that? And I start putting myself under that certain pressure. Because I don't even believe. I beg, wait now. Now no fit just dey cut us like that now. Because I don't even believe you cheated on me because the guy is better than me. I don't think that way.
Okay.
Sometimes people get carried away. A girl has cheated on me because of contact lens before. I think I've told you before. Contact lens.
But the situation...
And that period, she tried telling me to put on the contact lens. But my head, if I don't put on water, they come out. I can't be paying attention to that. Do you understand? So it does not mean that the guy knows how to wear contact lens more than me. I just wasn't available.
If I was opportune to actually ask this question as at then when it happened, to get the breakdown of this understanding might be harder. Because then it's not about trying to run competition with whosoever she did what she did with.
Okay.
If I checked out the standards, then I was not missing out.
Okay.
I really was not missing out.
You were doing good. The guy was just better.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. But I was doing good. You understand me? So I'm not saying even before it got to the area of sex. So if it is that's more finance, that's more chilling, that's more this and that. I was meeting up. But now it happens. How do you solve it when it happens over and over and over again?
If you give us whatever you sell to us or whatever you show us is how we rate you.
Sure.
If you tell me your boyfriend is a trash, we'll treat him like a trash. If you let us know he's a weak guy, we'll treat him like a weak guy. So you can be beside him and I'll tell you to stand up and come into my house. That is if you give me the permission. Do you understand?
Okay.
So I've been with girls that are far. Let's talk now. The girl is telling me, like, no, my boyfriend is around. Like, I don't even, do you understand?
Okay.
So people like that, even when I meet the guy, I cannot completely rate him lesser than I am. I will feel like I just dey steal him babe chop.
Well, you even try. You did try one reason how she did rate her guy for your own side. I don't give that space. For example, like you said, now we are all sinners, right? I don't get into that conversation of even your boyfriend, or I don't get into that conversation. If I chat you up,
No, you are getting me wrong.
No, I get your point though. If I chat you up now, for example, hi, what's up now? Come around, and you tell me, you're with your boyfriend. It ends there. For now, then, it ends there. So I don't even want to.
You know why I disagree with you?
Why?
The male ego in us, we like to feed our ego by stand up.
That's where the competition.
No. It's not competition. No, this one you are talking about is the early stage.
Early stage or deep stage. I do not want to know anything about your boyfriend.
Have you ever cheated
because I know you.
Have you ever cheated on your boyfriend?
I know you have a boyfriend, so why do I want to know?
Okay,
why do
I'm
I
sure
want
you've cheated on your boyfriend before.
I haven't.
Okay. Okay. The thing is, it's just something that is natural. It does not make you a bad guy or a good guy. When you are in a relationship with a girl that is in another relationship, there's an ego in us that wants us to that wants to make us feel in charge. Okay. That I feel call the babe now, me should they come. It happens. That's why people tell you, that girl don't marry, but still they not come. They know it's wrong.
Okay.
It's not because that's the sweetest vagina, but it's just to feed their egos. Even as she they marry, that still feel not come.
Okay, but I don't look at it from that perspective.
Okay,
anyway.
so like
I
me,
look
I'm
at it
just
from that
saying,
perspective.
it's something that we guys want to do. That even though we know you're in a relationship, we want to feel like I feel tell her me she do this, I feel tell her me. So it now depends on how the girl or maybe the girl you were with did not
Alright.
give you room
No,
for
it's not,
such
it's
thing.
not like she didn't give me room. I don't even want to have that. I don't.
Everybody does this thing. They are saying that in
don't
the
want
early
to-
stage now.
Okay, guys.
I don't want
let's
to
not
know your
let's
boyfriend
not
is-
veer away from what we're talking about.
Okay,
Said I will
fine,
stand
yeah.
up beside him, Lawa.
Deal breaker is when she doesn't respect you. Yeah. What
God.
is your deal breaker?
I am keen on that respect part too.
Okay.
But once I start observing so much lies, I get tired.
Yeah, lies too. Yeah, I
get
don't
tired.
like.
Once it's
No. The lie that I'm even scared about, sorry,
Yeah.
is the lie where, like, psychologically, if you are looking at someone eyeball to eyeball,
and still
the person is supposed to feel uncomfortable if the person is lying. So the moment I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, you're still like,
that's exactly, man, exactly.
No.
Let me throw this one quickly. I was in this relationship and she was wrong and she was still arguing. I didn't even bring up the talk. So I discussed it with her cousin. Long story short, her cousin talked to her. And she came to the house. I was in the kitchen.
And she
And
was still-
she just came and you're a devil. You're a very wicked person. So you had all of this in mind and we cooked yesterday. We still ate. Eric, now you be the devil because you even had the heart. I asked you this question and you denied it. Like, where were you last night? You said I'm at Comfort's place.
And she was still looking at your eyes now.
Dealing with all
Run from her.
goodness.
One of the deal breakers for me is
I can't deal with that.
I've
No, I
forgotten
can't deal with
now. Other than lie, now if my anger does not mean anything to you, it's dangerous for me.
You're playing with me.
Yeah, if I'm telling you, I hardly raise my voice. I'm a very playful person. But the moment I'm mad, and you don't find it, like you are not worried that I'm mad, like you keep pushing me, I'll run because I've seen how domestic violence is between my mom and my dad. So
Okay.
I've always vowed to never ever be violent. So I also understand the fact that people can push you.
Very well.
So when I'm in that
Very
state
well.
where I'm angry and you are not bothered, so it looks like you are somebody that can push me to
Yeah,
that length. And then it even happens when a girl has been in an abusive relationship. So when you are shouting, it does not even mean much to her until you slap
Oh,
her.
man, that's-
So the moment I'm
that's
telling you how far I'm talking, like at the para, and you see the para, I don't dey calculate. Say, me and this babe no fit
When you
dey.
pause, boss, yeah,
Yeah.
one
No,
of the days,
if I'm upset, if I'm angry, not upset. If I'm upset, we can argue. But the moment I'm arguing, there's this thing I usually do that saliva will be coming out from my mouth. That I'm already
Oh,
stuttering. I'm like, do you know? I'm stammering.
Yeah.
That is like almost my height, and that does not make you feel like Tunji has never got to be in this angry.
you're
before. You're
still- No.
So the thing is, the moment I see you are still talking, I'll just stop for you and go. But you see that going that I'm going.
Otilo.
Rami.
You are so
I don't go
Otilo.
calculate and say, this girl,
No, it
she
can't
go
work.
make me bitter. If I shout at you and you are crying, I like it. Yes. That's all you're saying. You're shouting at me, I'm sorry. Make I dey beg
right.
you. So that means you're not ready to see my worst. But if you dey ready see my worst, say do my worst care. No, now you want me to beat you. So yeah, that's
We'll call it a wrap.
All right,
my
yes,
deal
he will round
breaker.
up
So lies,
I'll ask him
respect,
my
and
Yeah.
not scared of my worst.
Okay, so for me, what's my deal breaker? That's one thing. Okay, I would say lies,
Okay.
disrespect. I think
It escaped my mind earlier.
What's that? What's that?
When you explained things earlier, you said things about you want to know, get to communicate with the person even before you get under her pants.
Yes, sir.
So you've never been a fan or had the experience of a one-night stand because the way you explained it earlier.
Okay.
Okay.
When you
No.
explained it earlier,
I mean, when I was explaining, I
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
there was a time I was in my whole period, whole phase that anything I go knack, and I said
Okay.
I've outgrown that stage. So the worst I do now, if na head, I receive head every now
So
and
you
then.
can have a one-night stand.
But na head, no be knack. No be knack because steady. Normally me usually I will have one steady vagina. Say after I don't high where you
That
dey,
kind thing.
I head.
No more.
So like my body no shake for this, but I go collect head. Do you understand? So that's how. It's not as if I'm a good. I'm a perfect person. Eh?
If it's not the main deal, it's not the main deal.
No, I like Ed. Ed has saved me from having sex with so many girls that I don't want to.
If we sit down,
I like
here,
Ed.
we just continue. Mr. Tunji, thank you.
You have seen me receive Ed before. I will do my job. I will. I will say you're not a fan of blowjob. Blowjob is the sweetest in the net.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tunji.
You're welcome. My love.
Okay, guys, it's a wrap. We'll come to a wrap of this interesting episode. So nice to have Mr. Tunji Williams with us,
Thank
the
you.
Black
Thank you for having
Mamba.
me.
You forget that.
Thank you for having me.
So nice to have you. And till we come your way next time, do make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms and drop a comment. Yes, what's your own take? How do you survive, or how would you survive a heartbreak or breakup, and all of that? Let's hear your own view. Till we come your way next time. Bye.